The election in Georgia, it's been so overshadowed by what happened at the Capitol.
Well, there's a reason for that. The president is a master of diversion. He doesn't care. He's reckless. Any diversion will do.
But whatever the
Yeah. He did an insurrection because the Senate majority was lost to the Republicans. No! He did an insurrection because he's mad that he lost. And he's upset. And this is his final fucking stand. I don't give a shit. I very much believe the Maggie Haberman coverage that said that Donald Trump stated that he does not care that Loeffler and Perdue lost because they had not fought hard enough for him. I literally believe that. I do. He's just a narcissist. He doesn't give a shit.
People aren't aware of how, let's say, seismic it is that the two Democrats won, because now the Democrats control all the branches of government. So what changes? What can the Democrats get done, because Chuck Schumer will be the majority leader, that you otherwise would not have gotten done with Mitch McConnell?
Well, what we haven't gotten done with Mitch McConnell, and that is an array of issues that relate to lowering health care costs for the American people by lowering the cost of prescription drugs, building the infrastructure of America, moving America forward, building back better. We have an array of issues of legislation that have been sitting over on Mitch McConnell's desk that passed in a bipartisan way in the House, but that he would not bring up. So the power of bringing up legislation.
I don't know why I don't talk more about like the Voting Rights Act, because it's such a given. Like, it's going to be a political battle around it. Healthcare is a good issue, obviously. It's a bipartisan issue for the voters, even though it's only affordable healthcare or lowering pharmaceutical prices. Okay, well, Donald Trump literally did that too. Sorry, I hate to break this to you, but Donald Trump very much put out a clear-cut proposal that didn't do much of anything, but in the eyes of his supporters, absolutely fucking lowered healthcare prices or lowered pharma prices by implementing transparency protocols. It's bullshit. It is complete bullshit. It is not a significant bill at all, or it's not a significant executive action at all. And it doesn't actually lower healthcare prices. But in the eyes of so many, in the eyes of like regular American people, they think Donald Trump did that too, if they're paying attention to it. So her going off on that tangent is not necessarily the most helpful, but one thing you have to do certainly is start the battle for the voting rights, because that's going to be a battle that, you know, is hard fought, unfortunately, because America is broken. But like, the Supreme Court basically unrolled all the protections that were fought for in the civil rights movement. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, if you're not going to fight for that, what the fuck can you fight for? Like, I mean, you're nothing then. You're literally nothing. And the reason why I think they should start talking about this is because there is going to be a battle, so you have to win the messaging war ahead of time.
Makes a big difference. The White House being the bully pulpit to show the American people what this means in their lives makes a very big difference.
Let's talk about some of the issues. Infrastructure already has a lot of bipartisan support for building bridges and creating jobs and all of that.
Always.
I heard someone say that the Republicans will never agree to build things, build structures, infrastructure, that the Democrats will not give that to a Democratic president.
Well, I have any idea who that someone is, but the fact is the American people know that they need jobs. They also know that in their communities, they need infrastructure, whether it's infrastructure for broadband in rural or inner cities, whether it's water projects to make the water safe that they drink, whether it's bridges, roads, mass transit, and the rest. The American people know. And the advantage of having the bully pulpit is the president can convey to the American people what is at stake in the votes that we will have. We've always worked in a bipartisan way on infrastructure, except
But it didn't pass.
they obstructed what President Obama wanted to do, so we had a smaller bill than we would have liked, but nonetheless, we had a bill. We always wanted to work with President Trump on infrastructure. My first conversations with him after his election were always about infrastructure. It was hardly ever a conversation that infrastructure didn't come up. The only time he walked away when it was time to pay for it, and he stormed out.
There are several important things that can be passed now in the Senate without any Republican votes. Spending and taxes.
Yes.
They can go just on an up and down straight.
Damn, she's about to be like, why haven't you talked about the 2K bill? What's up? Isn't that the first order of business? Re-implementing like the tax hikes on the wealthy and corporations. Isn't that supposed to be first order of business? That's literally what Joe Biden ran on. I like this. I like this because it does hold him accountable. Like it does. Okay, we'll see what happens.
Partisan vote.
Well, what's important to note about Georgia, that in winning those 2 seats, we can engage in something called reconciliation. Reconciliation is a process by which we define what we are about. It has to relate to the budget, it has to be spending or taxation, whatever, and that only requires 51 votes. So winning 2 votes in Georgia was like winning 10 votes in Georgia from the standpoint of reconciliation. We passed the Affordable Care Act.
Why is she describing this? She literally sounds like me when I didn't do my job on the presentation that I'm delivering. So I have to run out the clock on areas that I do know. It's like the equivalent of starting your fucking proposal by describing a term. Like the dictionary definition of budget reconciliation is to reconcile.
Under reconciliation. We passed other legislation under reconciliation.
So this is huge.
Huge.
You now can pass things without a filibuster threat.
That's right.
It was not a good answer, but who knows?